Welcome to Globewise Entertainment. If you're a fan of hidden gems, lost classics, and untold stories from the golden age of cinema, you've come to the right place. Today, we're diving deep into the world of espionage with 15 forgotten British spy thrillers of the 1960s, films that slipped through the cracks but still carry that irresistible Cold War intrigue and suspense. From shadowy double agents to stylish missions across Europe, these thrillers prove there was much more to the spy genre than just James Bond. If you haven't already, make sure to subscribe to Globewise Entertainment for more fascinating stories from Hollywood and beyond. And don't forget, which of these spy thrillers would you love to watch the most? Drop your pick in the comments below, we'd love to hear from you. 1. The Spy with a Cold Nose, 1966. In the swinging spy craze of the 1960s, when James Bond ruled the box office, Britain produced dozens of secret agent adventures. But among them lies one of the quirkiest and most forgotten gems of the decade, The Spy with a Cold Nose, 1966. This wasn't your typical spy thriller filled with martinis and Aston Martins. It was a comedy espionage tale with a very unusual star, a bulldog. Yes, you heard that right. A dog became the central agent in this Cold War caper. The plot follows a British veterinary surgeon, played by Lawrence Harvey, who is roped into a dangerous mission after the Soviets present their leader with a bulldog as a gift. What no one knows is that the dog has been secretly fitted with a hidden listening device inside its collar. Suddenly, the mild-mannered vet finds himself caught in an international game of espionage, forced to look after the dog while dodging Soviet spies, seductive agents, and layers of political intrigue. Adding even more sparkle, the film starred Dahlia Lavi, famous for her roles in spy comedies like Casino Royale, 1967, and comedy legend Lionel Jeffries, who brought plenty of laughs with his bumbling charm. While the movie was light-hearted and full of tongue-in-cheek humor, it cleverly parodied the Cold War paranoia of its time. Imagine the tension of the nuclear standoff, undone by a sneezing, tail-wagging British bulldog with a microphone strapped under its fur. Despite its playful twist on the genre, The Spy with a Cold Nose never reached the iconic status of Bond films or even other spy spoofs of the decade. Over time, it slipped into obscurity, overshadowed by big-budget thrillers and more serious espionage dramas. But for film lovers today, it remains a hidden treasure, a reminder of just how experimental and offbeat 1960s spy cinema could be. It's witty, eccentric, and truly one of the most forgotten British spy thrillers of the era, proof that even in the Cold War, sometimes the best secret agent had four legs. 2. A Dandy and Aspic, 1968. Set in the shadowy world of Cold War espionage, A Dandy in Aspic delivers a uniquely dark twist on the classic spy thriller. The story follows Alexander Eberlin, a weary British intelligence officer who's secretly living a double life as a Soviet double agent. When his superiors assign him to track down and eliminate a dangerous Russian spy, Eberlin faces the ultimate nightmare. The man he has been ordered to kill is himself. Caught between loyalty to his homeland and the deadly grip of his Soviet handlers, Eberlin spirals into a world of paranoia, betrayal, and moral conflict. His attempts to escape the noose tightening around him only drag him deeper into a maze of deceit. Adding to the tension is his strained romance with a glamorous German woman, which offers him a fleeting hope of redemption but also complicates his already tangled allegiances. The film's haunting atmosphere comes from its authenticity, shot in bleak 1960s Berlin, where the Cold War was at its most tense. Unlike the glamorous James Bond movies of the era, A Dandy in Aspic rejects gadgets and escapist fantasy, instead painting espionage as a lonely, soul-crushing business where every choice comes with a cost. Tragically, the movie also carries a haunting real-life story. Its director, Anthony Mann, famous for epics like El Cid and the Fall of the Roman Empire, died suddenly during filming. Actor Lawrence Harvey, who plays the lead role, had to finish the movie himself, giving the film an eerie parallel to its themes of duality and uncertainty. Though overshadowed by flashier spy franchises, A dandy in Aspic stands today as a forgotten British gem of the 1960s. It's not a tale of heroes, but of a man trapped in his own web of lies, where the spy game is less about victory and more about survival. 3. Subterfuge, 1968. A forgotten Cold War gem. Tucked away in the shadows of James Bond's global fame, Subterfuge, 1968, is one of those rare British spy thrillers that slipped under the radar but deserves a second look. Starring Gene Barry and Joan Collins, this tense Cold War tale explores espionage not with glamour and gadgets, but with paranoia, double-crosses, and fractured loyalties. The story follows an American agent stationed in London, drawn into a dangerous web of counterintelligence where no one can be trusted, not even his closest allies. Unlike the escapist fantasy of Bond films, Subterfuge leaned into the realism of the spy world: coded messages, hidden betrayals, and the ever-present fear of infiltration. Its pacing is deliberate, building suspense as loyalties are questioned and every decision carries life-or-death consequences. What makes Subterfuge particularly fascinating is its backdrop: London in the late 1960s. The film captures the city at the height of Cold War tension, portraying espionage as a grim and lonely business rather than a glamorous adventure. And of course, with Joan Collins in the mix, it adds just the right touch of intrigue and allure. While it never reached the blockbuster status of the Bond series, Subterfuge stands as a prime example of Britain's other spy cinema, a grittier, more cerebral take on espionage that now feels like a time capsule of Cold War anxieties. Forgotten by many, it's a film that deserves rediscovery, especially for fans of classic spy thrillers looking beyond the obvious titles. 4. The Limbo Line, 1068. Coming in at number 4 on our list is a thriller many fans of Cold War cinema have never even heard of, The Limbo Line, 1968. Based on the novel by Richard Condon, the film drops us straight into the shadowy world of espionage where nothing is ever what it seems. The story follows Major Harry Grant, a British intelligence officer, who is drawn into a dangerous mission after a high-ranking scientist vanishes under mysterious circumstances. The trail leads to a chilling underground network that specializes in abductions, known only as the Limbo Line. What makes this movie fascinating is its gritty, realistic approach to spy work. Unlike the gadget-filled world of James Bond, the Limbo Line paints espionage as cold, ruthless, and terrifyingly close to real-life Cold War disappearances. The villains operate with unnerving efficiency, grabbing their targets, wiping away their identities, and leaving behind no trace. Cinematically, the film uses bleak European landscapes and shadow-drenched interiors to amplify the paranoia. It's not a flashy action spectacle, but a slow-burn thriller built on suspense, secrecy, and the very real fear of being watched. Though the movie never achieved blockbuster status, it stands as one of the more haunting spy thrillers of its era. Today, it's a rare gem, often overlooked in favor of more glamorous espionage tales. But for lovers of tense, atmospheric spy stories, The Limbo Line deserves rediscovery. And that's what makes The Limbo Line such an unforgettable entry in Britain's 1960s spy cinema, a story where the shadows were deadlier than the bullets. 5. The Executioner. A spy thriller lost in the shadows. In the golden era of James Bond and Cold War intrigue, Britain produced more spy thrillers than audiences could count. Yet, while 007's adventures skyrocketed into cinematic legend, many other films quietly slipped into obscurity. One of these forgotten gems is The Executioner, a tense, moody thriller that captured the paranoia of the 1960s but never earned the spotlight it deserved. The film revolves around a British intelligence officer who begins to suspect that one of his own colleagues is secretly working for the enemy. Unlike the glamorous escapades of Bond, The Executioner is darker, grittier, and far more personal. Its story isn't about gadgets or shaken martinis. It's about betrayal, suspicion, and the terrifying idea that the real danger might be sitting right beside you at the office. What makes The Executioner fascinating is how it mirrors the atmosphere of its time. The Cold War was at its height, the Cuban Missile Crisis had recently shaken the world, and ordinary people genuinely feared nuclear annihilation. The film tapped into those anxieties, portraying espionage as a dirty, morally complex world where loyalty was never guaranteed. Though The Executioner never reached the commercial success of its flashier competitors, it remains an intriguing time capsule of British cinema. With its shadowy cinematography, slow-burn tension, and a storyline rooted in mistrust, it offered audiences a far more realistic glimpse into espionage than Bond's tuxedo-clad escapades. Today, the film stands as a reminder of how rich and varied 1960s spy thrillers really were, and how many of them remain hidden beneath the cultural memory of 007. For fans of Cold War drama and forgotten British classics, The Executioner is a must-discover gem.